Hello, and welcome to the world asleep. Find a position that feels easy and restful. Allow your body to sink into the support beneath you. Notice your breath, gentle, steady, in and out. With each exhale, let go of the day's weight and prepare to drift into a world far from the familiar. Tonight, our journey begins at the very edge of an immense blue frontier. We are standing at the surface of the ocean at dusk. The last light of the sun stretches across the waves in molten ribbons of orange and violet. The sea reflects the sky, shimmering, breathing, endless. The air carries a salty tang, cool on the skin, fresh in the lungs. The soundscape is simple, yet eternal. The hush of waves rolling, the occasional cry of a gull, and beneath it all, the rhythmic pulse of the tide. Above, the first stars appear, delicate pinpricks of silver against deepening indigo, and below, a vast, uncharted world waits, a realm of mystery, of silence, and of hidden wonders. Tonight, we will not simply gaze upon it. We will descend into its heart, step by step, until we are surrounded by its quiet infinity. And though we drift together here, beneath an endless dome of stars and water, I wonder where this voyage has found you. What hour is it where you rest? From which shore, city, or quiet room are you listening to the whispered rumble of the deep? If you feel moved to share, we would love to read your answer in the comments below, a gentle map of voices joined by this moment of calm. And if this descent brought you peace and you'd like to return for more journeys around the globe, a quiet tap on the like button or a soft subscription helps guide others here too. Now, let us slip further into the blue, leaving the busy world behind, and continue our slow, salt-scented drift into the deep. Chapter 1. The Descent into the Twilight Zone. We begin gently, at the surface. The water rocks us softly, like a cradle. With a final glance at the fading sky, we slip below, and the world changes. The first few feet are bright, alive with color. Schools of silver fish flash like liquid mirrors. Coral reefs glow in their final touches of sunlight, reds, yellows, and blues in impossible brilliance. This is the world many of us know, but we are going deeper. At 30 feet, the warmth of the sun still lingers, but the colors begin to soften. Reds fade first, swallowed by the water. Oranges and yellows follow. The deeper we go, the more the world turns to shades of blue and green. Shapes become outlines. Voices of the surface fade into muffled whispers. The ocean begins to reveal its true, endless self. Now, at 200 feet, we enter the mesopelagic zone, also called the Twilight Zone. Here, sunlight can still reach, but it is weak, dim, and fading. It is not enough for plants to grow. It is enough only to paint a faint, ghostly light across the water. All around us, the vast blue grows darker, softer, more mysterious. The pressure increases. With each descent, the weight of the water above presses harder. At this depth, it is already several times greater than what we feel on land. Yet, the ocean is patient. It reveals its secrets slowly. Drifting beside us, creatures appear. Small, silvery fish with enormous eyes, built to capture every last photon of light. Lanternfish, tiny, humble, yet countless in number, rise toward the surface at night to feed, then retreat here by day. Their shimmering scales catch the faintest glimmer, like sparks in the gloom. Further down, transparent squid drift past, their bodies almost invisible. Only the faint shimmer of internal organs betrays their presence. They move with a pulsing grace, their tentacles trailing like threads of silk. Above, the last rays of the sun are now no more than memory. The blue deepens into cobalt, into shadow. Our eyes adjust, shapes blur, and then something extraordinary. The first flickers of light that are not from the Sunday tiny pinpricks appear in the darkness. At first, they seem like mistakes of vision, but then they multiply. They blink, flash, and shimmer in colors. The stars above can only dream of emerald greens, cold blues, even pulses of soft red. This is bioluminescence, living light. In the twilight zone, it is everywhere. Creatures create light, not for beauty, but for survival. Some use it to lure prey, dangling a glowing lure like a false promise. Others use it to vanish, lighting their bellies in just the right way to erase their silhouettes against the faint glow above. Some signal to mates, others to warn enemies. Here, light is language, it is life. The deeper we move, the more the temperature falls. The water cools sharply, forming a boundary scientists call the thermocline. Above it, warm surface water. Below, a world of cold. Crossing it feels like slipping through an invisible veil. At 600 feet, the twilight zone is nearly an absolute shadow. The sun's gift can no longer penetrate, but the ocean is not silent. Around us, vast migrations are taking place. Each night, billions of creatures, squid, shrimp, fish, rise toward the surface to feed. Each dawn, they descend again into the dark. This daily movement, known as the vertical migration, is the largest animal migration on Earth. It happens not across continents, but up and down in this hidden column of water. We drift alongside them, part of the great tide of life. We feel the hush of wings, not of birds, but of fins and flukes. Shadows pass just beyond sight, shapes larger than us, moving with quiet purpose. Even whales come here, diving deep to feed before rising again to breathe. And still, we descend. The weight grows heavier, the light grows stranger. We are leaving behind the half-light world of the twilight zone and approaching a place where darkness is absolute, a place where the sun never reaches. Take another slow breath. Let yourself feel the stillness. We are ready to cross into the true deep, into the kingdom of night. Chapter 2. Life in the Darkness. Bioluminescent Wonders. Down we drift, past the last tendrils of twilight, into a world of complete and perfect night. The bathypelagic zone begins here, known simply as the midnight zone. Sunlight never reaches this place. It is a kingdom of shadow, of pressure, of stillness, and yet it is alive. More alive, perhaps, than we could ever have imagined. At first, the blackness feels overwhelming, a silence of vision, but then, slowly, the darkness begins to bloom with light, not from the sky above, but from the creatures themselves. Tiny sparks, sudden flashes, pulses that move like Morse code through the abyss. This is bioluminescence, the language of the deep, and it is everywhere. Imagine it. 90% of the creatures who live here can create light. In a place where the sun cannot follow, life has learned to carry its own lantern. Some lights glow steady and soft, like the embers of a fire. Others flare in sharp bursts, dazzling, then gone. Some blink in patterns, like sentences written across the water. Here, the dark is never empty. It is sprinkled with constellations that move, breathe, and think. Look closely. A small fish with a long, slender body drifts past. From its belly, rows of glowing spots shine downward photophores. These lights erase the fish's shadow, disguising it from predators below. To look up from beneath is to see only a dim, seamless surface. The fish has made itself invisible by carrying the glow of the absent Sunday. Nearby, another vision, a dragonfish, its mouth lined with needle-sharp teeth that gleam faintly in its own light. From its chin, a delicate barbel dangles, tipped with a living lamp. It wiggles the glow like a lure. A curious shrimp, drawn closer by the promise of food, drifts within reach. In an instant, jaws close. The light vanishes. The ocean absorbs the secret again. Some creatures use light to confuse and escape. A small squid, startled, does not release black ink as its shallow cousins do. Instead, it explodes in a burst of glowing fluid, a phantom body of light that drifts away as the squid itself disappears into the dark. Predators chase the ghost, while the real animal slips silently away. And then, there are the hypnotists. The Atolla jellyfish, when attacked, does not run or hide. Instead, it lights itself like a neon wheel. Rings of blue-green fire pulse outward in rapid succession, a glowing alarm. The message is clear. I am in danger. Come feed on my attacker. In the deep ocean, sometimes survival means summoning a greater predator to the feast. Bioluminescence is more than defense or disguise. It is romance, too. A male anglerfish, tiny compared to the enormous female, follows her scent through the water. When he finds her, he latches onto her body with his teeth. Over time, their tissues fuse, and he becomes little more than an appendage, his sole purpose to provide sperm when she needs it. But before that fusion, the dance begins with light. She carries a lantern on her forehead, swaying it gently in the dark. He flashes in return, two living stars finding one another in a void. But not all lights are small. Sometimes, entire clouds ignite. Picture a swarm of shrimp, disturbed by a passing predator. They release pulses of light together, forming a drifting galaxy of sparks. The predator is blinded, overwhelmed, and the shrimp scatter in safety. The darkness returns, but for a moment, the deep ocean has glowed brighter than the night sky above. The adaptations here go beyond light. To survive in such scarcity, creatures have reshaped themselves into marvels of ingenuity. Many have enormous eyes to drink in what little light there may be. The giant squid, still deeper, has eyes the size of dinner plates, perfect for catching the faint glimmer of distant bioluminescence, or even the shadow of a passing whale. Others, like the hatchetfish, flatten their bodies into razor-thin profiles, so from the side, they almost vanish against the gloom. Some creatures shrink to conserve energy. Many deep-sea animals are tiny, delicate, almost weightless, built to survive on very little food. Others grow enormous, as if the dark grants them a different kind of freedom. The reasons are complex, still debated by science, but the variety is staggering. As we float here, suspended in the midnight zone, the pressure builds. Every square inch of our bodies, if unprotected, would be crushed beneath the weight of hundreds of meters of water. Yet the creatures here thrive. Their bodies are soft, gelatinous, flexible, designed to bend and yield rather than break. Where bone would shatter, jelly endures. The water itself is not empty. It is filled with marine snow, a gentle, endless rain of organic matter. Tiny fragments of dead plankton, discarded scales, fecal pellets, drifting slowly downward from the sunlit world above. It falls like ash in reverse, nourishing the deep. To us, it may look like dust. To the creatures of this world, it is life. Entire ecosystems survive on this steady, patient snowfall. Watch as a small, transparent creature extends a net of mucus many times its own size larvations, delicate architects of the abyss. They filter the falling snow, capturing food from the endless drift. When their nets clog, they abandon them and weave new ones, leaving behind ghostly spheres that sink even deeper, carrying carbon to the furthest trenches. The work of the smallest beings becomes a service to the entire planet. Here, in this zone of night, every adaptation is a masterpiece of necessity. The deep ocean is not barren, it is a theatre of innovation, light created from bodies, mouths unhinging wide enough to swallow prey larger than themselves, stomachs able to wait weeks, even months, between meals. Some creatures glow to be seen, others glow to disappear. Some drift silently for years, feeding only when fortune delivers. Others stalk with precision, timing each pulse of their lure to perfection. And yet, amidst the strangeness, there is beauty, the slow pulse of a comb jelly, rippling with rainbow light along its cilia, the delicate transparency of a glass squid, eyes like twin moons in the dark, the drifting elegance of siphonophores, colonies of countless tiny creatures, linked into chains that can stretch for tens of meters, glowing in sections like living chandeliers. The deeper we go, the more we understand. This darkness is not emptiness, it is abundance, written in unfamiliar languages, 1,000 strategies, 1,000 miracles, each one shaped by time, by need, by the relentless embrace of the sea. And so, as we leave the midnight zone behind, we carry with us the memory of these lights. They are the stars of a hidden universe. They shine not in the sky above, but in the waters below. They remind us that life is endlessly inventive, endlessly resilient, endlessly beautiful. Take a slow breath. Let the rhythm of the ocean cradle you. Ahead lies a realm even stranger, even harsher, where pressure grows unimaginable and landscapes shift into the alien. We are heading into the abyss. Chapter 3. The Abyss. Extreme pressure, alien landscapes, and mysterious life forms. We descend still deeper, leaving behind the faint glow of bioluminescent lanterns, leaving even the company of the crowded Twilight Zone. Now we cross a threshold few eyes have ever seen. This is the bathypelagic's deeper half, and beyond it, the abyssopelagic zone, simply called the Abyss. Here, the darkness is complete. It is not a room without light, it is the absence of light itself. No sunrise has ever touched this world. No moonlight filters down. We are surrounded by a silence so ancient, so unbroken, it feels eternal. The pressure here is staggering. At these depths, thousands of meters beneath the surface, the weight of the water above is immense. For every 10 meters we descend, the pressure increases by the weight of an entire atmosphere. Imagine the weight of the air pressing on you right now, and then multiply it hundreds of times. A human body, unprotected, would be crushed instantly. Yet here, life endures. The creatures of the abyss are soft, gelatinous, built to bend under pressure instead of resisting it. Their structures are delicate, almost fragile, and yet, paradoxically, perfectly suited to survive where steel would buckle. They remind us that strength does not always mean rigidity. Sometimes, survival is the art of yielding. As our eyes adjust, we begin to see faint shapes moving in the dark. A grenadier fish, with its long, tapering tail and oversized head, hovers in the still water. Its body looks unfinished, as though shaped more by necessity than design. And yet, it has lived here for millions of years. Nearby drifts a sea cucumber, oddly sausage-shaped, inching slowly across the sediments. At first glance, it may appear unremarkable, But these creatures are essential recyclers, consuming organic matter from the deep sea floor and returning nutrients back into circulation. They are the quiet custodians of the abyss. In the distance, a faint glimmer appears, something unexpected in a place where even bioluminescence grows rare. As we approach, we see an otherworldly structure rising from the floor, a hydrothermal vent. These vents are cracks in the Earth's crust, where seawater seeps deep into the hot mantle, is superheated, and erupts back into the ocean. Clouds of dark, mineral-rich water billow upward like underwater smoke, creating towering chimneys of iron and sulfur. The water here is toxic, acidic, and near boiling, yet life thrives. Around the vent, colonies of giant tube worms cluster together, tall, white casings topped with bright red plumes. They have no mouths, no stomachs, no way to feed themselves in any way we understand. Instead, they house symbiotic bacteria within their bodies. These bacteria transform the vent's toxic chemicals into energy, a process known as chemosynthesis. In the absence of sunlight, life here feeds on the Earth's heat and minerals. Shrimp swarm across the vent's surface, their shells gleaming in the faint glow. Crabs and snails join them, feeding not on plants or plankton, but on bacteria and the creatures that graze upon them. An entire ecosystem, thriving in a place once thought inhospitable to all life. For centuries, we believed life required the Sunday, that without photosynthesis, nothing could grow, but the abyss teaches us otherwise. Here, entire communities live independently of sunlight, powered instead by the chemistry of the Earth itself. In this alien landscape, we glimpse what life might look like on other worlds. If it can exist here, in the crushing dark, perhaps it can exist beneath the ice of Europa or in the methane seas of Titan. The abyss is not only a place of fire, but also of cold. Away from the vents, the water hovers just above freezing. The floor stretches out as an endless desert of fine silt, sculpted by slow-moving currents. It is vast, lonely, and yet alive. A strange, transparent creature passes, a cusk eel, its body ribbon-like, its face hauntingly human. It moves slowly, conserving energy in this land where food is scarce. Nearby, a ghostly Dumbo octopus drifts with ear-like fins, flapping gently as though in slow motion. Its small, delicate body seems ill-suited for such harshness, yet it dances gracefully in the endless dark. Here, time feels different. Many abyssal creatures grow slowly, age slowly, live for centuries. In this cold, pressurized stillness, life stretches itself thin, as though each heartbeat must last. There is no hurry here, only patience. Across the plain, a shadow stirs a tripod fish. It rests upon elongated fins, standing upright like a delicate sculpture, its face turned into the current. It waits for food to drift by, conserving all energy until the moment is right. In the abyss, to waste energy is to risk death. Stillness becomes strategy. And yet, this place is not entirely still. From time to time, avalanches of sediment cascade from the continental shelves above turbidity currents, rushing walls of sand and mud that sweep across the seafloor like underwater storms. They reshape the landscape, burying valleys, carving channels. The abyss is vast, but not immune to change. There are also earthquakes here, as the Earth's tectonic plates grind and shift. Some of the deepest trenches in the world, the Mariana, the Tonga, the Kuril-Kamchatka, are scars left by this restless motion. At their bottom lies the Huddle Zone, deeper still, where the abyss folds into unfathomable depth. But for now, we remain here, suspended in the endless plain of the abyssal sea. Above us, kilometers of water press downward. Below us, the Earth's crust stretches endlessly outward. Around us, creatures strange and unhurried drift in a perpetual midnight. It feels alien, and yet it is part of our own planet, a part we barely know. The abyss is a reminder that Earth is not just mountains, forests, and skies. It is also this vast oceans of dark, crushing depth, silent and still, holding secrets we have only begun to uncover. And as we float here, listening to the rhythm of our breath, we realize the abyss does not frighten, it humbles. It whispers of time measured not in years, but in millennia. It shows us that life can endure where we thought it impossible. That beauty can bloom even in fire and shadow. That stillness can be a kind of strength. So rest here for a moment. Imagine the weight of the ocean above cradling you, steady and constant. Imagine the slow drift of creatures around you, each one a marvel of patience and resilience. Imagine the silence, ancient and deep. And when you are ready, we will travel on toward the giants of the deep, toward shapes so immense they stir legends, toward life forms rarely seen, but always imagined. The abyss has carried us this far. Now it releases us into the realm of giants. Chapter 4. Deep Sea Giants, Colossal Squid, Whales, and Rarely Seen Creatures. From the silence of the abyss, we drift onward, and soon the shadows around us begin to take on scale, larger, vaster, more immense than we have yet seen. This is the kingdom of giants. The deep ocean is not only home to tiny, glowing fish and delicate, transparent forms, it also harbors some of the most colossal creatures ever to live on Earth. To encounter them is to feel awe and humility, for they remind us of our own smallness in the face of such majesty. A flicker ahead, then a shape. At first it seems like a trick of the dark, a cloud or a drifting shadow. But as it approaches, its outline grows distinct. Arms, tentacles, a body longer than a bus. This is the colossal squid, one of the greatest mysteries of the deep. Unlike its cousin, the giant squid, the colossal squid has hooks embedded in its tentacles. Its eyes are the largest known in the animal kingdom, each one as wide as a dinner plate. Imagine what it sees: vast darkness, pierced only by sparks of bioluminescence, magnified by those immense orbs. Scientists believe these eyes evolved to detect the faint silhouette of approaching predators, especially the only hunter large enough to challenge it, the sperm whale. The sperm whale is itself a giant of the deep, descending over a kilometer into the abyss to hunt. With lungs that collapse under pressure, ribs that fold inward, and a reservoir of oxygen stored in muscle, it can dive for more than an hour. In the dark, it hunts with sound emitting powerful clicks that echo through the water. Each pulse is a flash of sonar vision, painting a living map of the world around it. And when whale and squid meet, the struggle is titanic. On the skins of beached whales, circular scars bear witness marks left by the suction cups and hooks of colossal squid. These battles are rarely seen, but the evidence is written across the bodies of the survivors. They are stories carved into flesh, proof of an eternal contest between two leviathans of the sea. Not all giants are hunters. Some drift slowly, peacefully, like moving continents in the water. Picture a lion's mane jellyfish, its bell as wide as a dining table, its tentacles stretching over 100 feet longer than a blue whale. It pulses gently, trailing a living curtain through the dark. Fish shelter in its tendrils, while others are ensnared by their sting. It is both sanctuary and snare. And then, the greatest giant of all, the blue whale. Even in the deep, its presence is humbling. The largest animal to have ever lived on Earth, heavier than the biggest dinosaurs, longer than 3 buses placed end to end. And yet, it feeds not on squid or sharks, but on krill, tiny shrimp-like creatures that it sieves in vast gulps through baleen plates. A single whale can consume 4 tons of krill in a day, yet it moves with a grace and quietness that belies its scale. Its heartbeat, deep and steady, can be heard from miles away. To share the ocean with such a being is to know reverence. Other giants drift less noticed. The oarfish, a slender serpent of silver and red, may grow to over 30 feet. It rises occasionally from the depths, its long ribbon-like body shimmering like a myth-given form. Sailors once thought it a sea serpent, a harbinger of storms. In truth, it is a gentle, elusive giant living quietly in the twilight waters. The giant isopod, a cousin of the pillbug found in gardens, lurks on the sea floor, swollen to nearly 2 feet in length. It scavenges patiently, feeding on the remains that drift down as marine snow. Its armored body and slow, deliberate movements give it a prehistoric air, as though it has stepped out of another era. And still deeper, stranger giants appear. The siphonophore, not one creature but many, is a colonial organism stretching over 100 feet longer even than a blue whale. Each section is specialized, some for stinging, some for digesting, some for reproduction. Together they form a single drifting entity, glowing faintly in the dark, like a chandelier adrift in eternity. These giants remind us that the deep sea is a place of extremes. Where food is scarce, creatures either shrink into delicate miniatures or expand into monumental sizes. Scientists call it deep-sea gigantism. The cold, the pressure, and the slow pace of life encourage bodies to grow vast and long-lived. Whales, too, embody patience. The sperm whale dives with method, its heart slowing, its body conserving energy for the long hunt. When it returns to the surface, it exhales in a plume of vapor, an ancient ritual, a reminder that even giants must breathe the same air as we do. And the blue whale, despite its immensity, communicates with calls that travel across entire ocean basins. A song sung in frequencies so low they are felt as much as heard. A whale's voice can cross thousands of miles, linking lives across the open sea. As we drift among these titans, it is easy to feel small, but the feeling is not fear, it is wonder. For in their scale, we see the vastness of the ocean itself. They are not monsters, they are teachers. They show us that life takes many forms, tiny sparks of light, or bodies so immense they rival mountains. Both are part of the same story. The giants of the deep are reminders of resilience. The blue whale, once hunted to the brink of extinction, now sings again in growing numbers. The colossal squid, unseen for centuries, has revealed itself only in fleeting glimpses, as though reminding us how much remains hidden. Each giant is both a mystery and a message that the ocean is not empty, but full, not barren, but brimming, not silent, but alive with songs and struggles, patience and power. So breathe deeply, feel the rhythm of your own heart, steady, calm, patient. You are sharing the ocean with beings older, larger, and quieter than any myth. Giants who move unseen through the darkness, carrying with them the weight of ages. And now, gently, let us continue our descent. past the titans of water and flesh, down to the very floor of the ocean, to a landscape as alien as any other planet. Trenches, vents, mountains hidden beneath the waves. There, in the quietest depths, new stories wait to be told. The giants remain behind us, drifting in their endless night. Ahead lies the ocean floor, the foundation of the world. Chapter 5: The Ocean Floor, Trenches, Hydrothermal Vents, and Hidden Ecosystems. We have followed the water down through its dim twilight, past the glowing signals of the midnight zone, and through the immense stillness of the abyss. Now, at last, we arrive at the ocean's foundation, the seafloor. It is a place as varied and dramatic as the surface landscapes we know, though it has been hidden from us for most of human history. Stretching beneath every sea and ocean, the seafloor is a mosaic of plains, mountains, canyons, and cliffs. It is not a flat expanse, but a terrain more rugged than any above. The vast majority of Earth's volcanic activity occurs here, in silence, unseen. Entire mountain ranges, far longer than the Himalayas or the Andes, snake across the deep. They are the mid-ocean ridges, where tectonic plates drift apart and molten rock wells upward, creating new crust. This slow, constant process reshapes the world, grain by grain, ridge by ridge, beneath the veil of the sea. As we drift across this floor, we see an endless plain, the abyssal plain, stretching thousands of kilometers in all directions. Sediments, carried down from continents and washed from the surface, have settled here over millions of years, creating a smooth blanket that hides much of the underlying rock. Though seemingly empty, these plains are alive. Tiny organisms burrow in the sediments. Strange starfish creep slowly across the surface. Sea cucumbers, brittle stars, and worms sift the marine snow, turning death into sustenance. But the plain is not endless. It is interrupted by canyons and trenches that plunge far deeper still. The most famous of these, the Mariana Trench, reaches nearly 11 kilometers down. To stand at its bottom would be to stand farther beneath the sea than Everest stands above the land. It is the deepest known point on Earth, a place of unimaginable pressure where only a handful of human-made vessels have ever touched. And yet, even here, life exists. Tiny amphipods, shrimp-like creatures, have been found in these depths. Their shells, flexible and laced with natural compounds, protect them from the crushing pressure. Certain species of snailfish also thrive here, their bodies translucent, their bones reduced to cartilage, their cells adapted with special enzymes that keep them from collapsing. To us, it seems impossible. To them, it is simply home. Beyond trenches, the seafloor rises in places to staggering heights. Towering mountains called seamounts thrust upward, their peaks sometimes breaking the surface as volcanic islands. These underwater mountains become gathering points for life. Currents swirl around them, carrying nutrients that feed plankton blooms. In turn, fish, sharks, and even whales are drawn to these hidden oases. The sea floor, far from barren, is punctuated with places of abundance. And then there are the vents. We touched them briefly in the abyss, but here, on the sea floor, they dominate. Hydrothermal vents release jets of superheated water rich in minerals, sulfur, iron, and manganese spewing like black smoke from tall chimneys. To approach one is to step into an alien realm. The water, though scalding, does not boil. The immense pressure keeps it liquid. Around the vents, entire communities flourish. Giant tube worms wave crimson plumes. Mussels and clams cluster by the thousands. Crabs, shrimps, and fish dart among the shadows of the chimneys. None of these depend on sunlight. Their energy flows instead from chemosynthesis, as microbes transform vent chemicals into food. These microbes are the base of a food chain entirely independent from the sun, the only such chain on Earth that we know of. The vents are not permanent. They shift, collapse, and move as the Earth's crust changes. But as one vent dies, another often springs to life elsewhere, and the cycle continues. For the creatures that depend on them, survival means being able to move, to colonize new vents before the old ones grow cold. Life here is dynamic, opportunistic, resilient. Yet the seafloor holds more than vents. There are also cold seeps, where hydrocarbons, methane and oil leak from beneath the seabed. Though frigid compared to hydrothermal vents, these seeps also support unique life. Mussels with symbiotic bacteria, clams, and tube worms gather here, feeding on methane. Strange mats of bacteria cover the sediments, glowing faintly under submersible lights. Some of these microbes can metabolize methane directly, locking away greenhouse gases and stabilizing the Earth's climate. Once again, the ocean floor quietly influences the balance of our world. Perhaps most striking of all are the deep-sea corals. Unlike their shallow water relatives, these corals do not need sunlight. They grow slowly, building vast cold water reefs in darkness, some of them thousands of years old. Their branching skeletons provide shelter for fish, crabs, and countless invertebrates. They are fragile, easily broken, yet they hold entire ecosystems in their delicate structures. And there are mysteries still. Long ridges of mineral nodules lie scattered across abyssal plains, manganese nodules formed over millions of years around tiny fragments. They contain rare metals, cobalt, nickel, copper. They represent potential resources, yet they are also habitats for countless deep-sea creatures. Their slow growth reminds us of time itself, measured not in centuries but in geological ages. Walking, if one could walk across the sea floor, would be like traversing a museum of Earth's history. Every ridge and trench, every vent and seep tells a story written over millions of years. Yet, so much remains unseen. Less than a quarter of the ocean floor has been mapped in detail. Vast stretches remain blank on our charts, waiting for discovery. And in this darkness, the scale of life humbles us. Creatures we thought could not exist flourish in extremes. Microbes dine on poison. Fish swim where no bone should endure. Corals bloom without Sunday. Life does not merely survive here, it thrives. Quietly, steadily, patiently. As we drift above this alien landscape, let the thought settle. Beneath every wave, beneath every coastline, beneath every storm, this world exists. It has existed for hundreds of millions of years, largely unseen, largely untouched. The seafloor is not a barren void. It is a living, breathing part of Earth's great system. So breathe with it now, in and out. Imagine the vast plains stretching away into shadow. Imagine the glowing chimneys, the drifting snow, the slow pulse of ancient creatures. Imagine the silence, the deepest silence on our planet embracing you like a blanket. And when you are ready, we will rise slightly once more, not to the surface, but into the stories of our own species. For though the seafloor has existed since the world's beginning, only recently have humans begun to visit it. The next chapter is the story of our encounters, our fragile, fleeting footsteps across this hidden realm. Chapter 6: Human Encounters, Exploration History, Submarines, and Modern Research. For countless millennia, the deep ocean was a place of imagination alone, a realm beyond sight, beyond reach, beyond air. Humans stood at the shore and gazed across the horizon, wondering what might live beneath. We sent nets into the shallows, we followed whales across the surface, but the true deep remained unknowable. To our ancestors, it was a realm of myths and monsters. Only in the last few centuries have we begun to glimpse its reality. The story of human encounters with the deep begins not with machines, but with lines and weights. Early sailors lowered ropes marked with knots to measure depth. They discovered the ocean was far deeper than they had ever imagined. So deep, the line would vanish without reaching the bottom. It was a humbling discovery. The ocean floor was not a few fathoms down, but miles. A hidden world, immenser and unreachable. In the 19th century, exploration grew bolder. The HMS Challenger expedition of 1876 was the first true scientific voyage into the deep sea. The crew traveled nearly 70,000 nautical miles, lowering nets, dredges, and sounding lines into the abyss. When the nets returned, they were filled with life. No one had expected delicate starfish, shrimp with glowing organs, worms from unimaginable depths. The Challenger proved the deep ocean was not barren, but thriving. It rewrote our understanding of Earth and laid the foundation for modern oceanography. But to truly know the deep, we had to go there ourselves. That dream required technology that did not exist until the 20th century. In the 1,930 seconds, a young naturalist named William Beebe and engineer Otis Barton built the bathysphere, a steel sphere with tiny windows lowered by cable into the depths. Beebe and Barton descended to over 3,000 feet, far deeper than any human had gone before. From their narrow portholes, they saw strange creatures drifting in the gloom, jellyfish like glowing umbrellas, fish with needle jaws, shapes so alien they could hardly describe them. Beebe wrote of seeing a creature like a great glowing pinwheel vanishing into the dark. For the first time, human eyes looked directly into the midnight zone. Decades later, technology advanced again. In 1960, Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh entered the bathyscaphe, Trieste, a deep-diving vessel shaped like a white balloon with a heavy steel gondola beneath. They descended into the Mariana Trench, 7 miles down. For nearly 5 hours they sank, watching as the light faded, feeling the crushing pressure grow. At the very bottom, the Challenger deep, they saw the sea floor itself, soft sediments, disturbed by the shadow of their vessel. To their amazement, they even saw a flatfish-like creature dart away. It was proof that even at the deepest place on Earth, life persisted. Since Trieste, only a few humans have visited the Hadal depths. Among them, filmmaker James Cameron, who in 2012 piloted the deep-sea Challenger submersible to the Mariana Trench. More recently, explorer Victor Vescovo has made repeated dives in the DSV limiting factor, visiting the deepest points of every ocean. Each descent adds a new thread to our knowledge, but the vast majority of the seafloor remains untouched by human presence. Today, much of our exploration comes not from human pilots, but from robots. Remotely operated vehicles ROVs like Jason and ROV Sebastian can descend for hours, sending back live video of creatures never seen before. Autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs, roam freely, mapping terrain with sonar, tracing hydrothermal vents, and even sampling microbial life. With robotic eyes, we now explore continuously at depths and durations no human could endure. And what we have seen is extraordinary. In the past few decades, Deep-sea research has revealed forests of cold-water corals, glowing siphonophores stretching longer than blue whales, snailfish thriving at record depths, and new hydrothermal ecosystems rich with undiscovered species. Each dive brings new surprises, reminding us how little we truly know. Yet exploration is not without consequence. Our presence is gentle compared to the immensity of the ocean, but it leaves traces. The seafloor bears scars of cables and mining tests. Trash from the surface, plastic bags, cans, even lost shoes has been found in trenches miles deep. Microplastics drift in marine snow, ingested by creatures that live where no light has ever shone. The deep ocean is vast, but not immune to our reach. Still, there is hope in knowledge. Every sample, every photograph, every recorded dive strengthens our sense of connection to this hidden realm. The deep ocean is not a distant world. It is Earth itself, our planet, in its largest and most mysterious form. By studying it, we not only learn of alien creatures and extreme environments, but also of the systems that shape our climate, our oxygen, our very survival. Consider the Argo floats a global network of drifting instruments that measure temperature, salinity, and currents. They send back data that helps us understand the role of the oceans in absorbing heat and carbon, in regulating storms, in sustaining life on land. The deep ocean is not isolated. It breathes with the planet, and our science is beginning to hear its rhythm. And so, human encounters with the deep are not just voyages of curiosity, they are acts of recognition. Each descent, each new discovery tells us, this is not an alien world, it is our world. Vast, fragile, beautiful, a world we have barely begun to know. As we rest here in imagination, floating above a robotic submersible's light, watching the ghostly shapes of deep-sea creatures drift across the camera, let us reflect on the miracle of perception. For most of history, this sight was impossible. Now, it is shared with anyone who looks. We are witnesses to the deep, and that witnessing carries responsibility. Breathe in and out. Imagine yourself in the quiet cabin of a submersible, listening to the hum of life support systems, feeling the stillness outside. Picture the glow of instruments, the small window opening onto an infinite dark. And imagine the awe of seeing, for the first time, a creature that has never known the Sunday. This is what it means to encounter the deep ocean. It is not conquest, it is communion. And as we leave this chapter, let us carry that sense of communion forward, for our journey is not quite over. Ahead lies one final reflection, a farewell, a meditation on the vastness we have seen, and an invitation to let the ocean cradle us into sleep. Chapter 7. Closing Reflection, the Ocean's Vast Embrace. And so, we have travelled far, from the glowing surface at dusk, where waves caught the last fire of the sun, down through twilight waters, into the kingdoms of night, across the abyss, past giants and vents, and into the quiet company of human explorers. Now, at last, we pause. Close your eyes, if they are not already closed. Let your breathing become slow, steady, effortless. With each inhale, imagine the cool breath of the ocean filling you. With each exhale, let go of whatever remains of the day. You are safe. You are supported. You are held. The deep ocean is with you now, not as a distant frontier, but as a presence within, the same water that drifts through those trenches, those plains, those shadowed forests of coral. It moves too in your own body. The salt in your blood is kin to the salt in the sea. The rhythm of your heartbeat mirrors the tides rising, falling, rising again. You are not separate from this vastness, you are part of it. Think of the immensity of what we have seen together. Miles of water pressing down, yet cradling life in forms stranger and more beautiful than imagination. Creatures that glow in their own darkness. Ecosystems born from fire and stone, thriving without a trace of sunlight. Giants that glide unseen, carrying songs across oceans. Every heartbeat of the deep tells us, life finds a way. And now, as you rest, that lesson becomes yours. Whatever weight you carry, whatever doubts drift in your mind, remember the abyss. Remember the softness of the Dumbo octopus, moving with grace under pressures that could crush steel. Remember the patience of the tripod fish, waiting for currents to deliver nourishment. Remember the coral, building delicate homes in silence, grain by grain for centuries. Survival, beauty, wonder, they all belong to those who are gentle, patient, unhurried, and they belong to you too. Picture yourself floating in the mid-ocean, weightless, suspended. All around you, marine snow drifts downward, slow, quiet, eternal. Each fragment is a story from the surface. A leaf, a feather, a particle of life, falling gently into shadow. It surrounds you like soft white stars. You are drifting among galaxies, both above and below. The silence of the deep enfolds you, not an empty silence, but a full, rich silence, the silence of vastness, of time beyond counting, of patience deeper than thought. It is a silence that asks nothing of you except to rest. Now imagine the ocean as a cradle. Its currents are the rocking, its waves are the breath. The pressure of its water is a gentle, steady weight, like a blanket around you. The ocean has been here for billions of years. It will be here for billions more. It watches over you, as it has watched over whales and squids and glowing jellies, as it has carried continents and shaped storms. You are small within it, yes, but you are also infinite, because you belong to its endlessness. Let that thought soften you. Whatever seems heavy in your life is lighter here. The deep carries it for you. Whatever seems loud becomes quiet. Whatever feels unfinished becomes patient. And as you breathe, feel yourself sinking not into worry, not into effort, but into peace. You are sinking into rest, the way the ocean sinks into its trenches, deep, calm, eternal. Above, the stars shine over the waves. Below, creatures drift in bioluminescent constellations. Between them, you rest. You are the meeting point of sky and sea. You are as natural as the tides, as patient as the abyss, as luminous as the creatures of the midnight zone. Now, listen. The ocean hums in your breath. Its pulse moves in your blood. You are safe. You are supported. You are home. Let go of the surface. Let go of time. Let go of thought. Drift downward, gently, softly, into sleep. The ocean dreams with you. It always has. Sleep well.